Hey, what's up guys, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the Marvel Legends, not Haslab, sort of Haslab Marvel Sentinel from X-Men 97, which would be a good enough stand-in for just a Sentinel for any Marvel Legends collection. Although I'm guessing, if I had to guess it, if I was a guessing type of guy, they're going to repaint this and modify it some to make it just a normal Sentinel at some point. It seems like they would do that. But this guy's a pretty hefty figure. He's pretty big and he's pretty expensive. It was originally, I think it was $175, and now that they are selling them, even though I'm pretty sure they said they were going to be made to order, meaning like they're not going to have extras, but now they're selling them for like $225 or $230 or $220. I don't know, I'll put it on there, but they're selling them for a lot more now. And we're going to see if it's actually a good figure, if it's actually worth it. So, I can't get it off the stand, but I can move things around and keep doing the review. So, okay. So, there's that, and it's so big. If I had a nickel, I wouldn't be able to afford much. Okay, here's the box. It's made to look like a window box, but it's not. That's a weird choice. It's cheaper to do it that way, and I'm guessing that's why they did it. It's a super... I don't know if anybody actually gives a crap about the box, but they made a box, so it's like... That's weird. And then you have some artwork there, that's fine. The abdominal section looks so much better in the drawings than it does on the figure. And there's the figure with other figures that it doesn't come with, of course. And there's their incentive. Like, obviously, they're aiming for people to buy a bunch of these, and that's what Marvel collectors do, so that's fine. But yeah, it's just a big cardboard box with printing on it. Not particularly displayable, because it is just a fake window. I don't get that. I'm just gonna... Yeah, that worked. Okay. So this is gonna be awkward because he's big. I probably have to just chop this video up. Alright, so like I said, 20 bucks, 20 bucks, 220 bucks or so right now, 175 when I bought it. And let's see how tall he is. He is, we'll call it 22 and a quarter, just to be fair. 22 and a quarter inches, and then 56 centimeters. He's got some size to him for sure. Here he is up against a Darwin. That's pretty good size. Like, he's pretty big. And I think I have two mindsets for this figure. One, I like this more than the Haslab. The Haslab to me was underwhelming for what it was. It didn't have the look I wanted, first of all, so that was just a personal thing. But I don't think it was nice enough to warrant what it was, being the Haslab and being as expensive as it was and all that kind of stuff. But it was a very nice figure in some ways. Now this figure is cheaper than that, but I think significantly overpriced, but more in terms of what I think more collectors would rather have. It's not as big, so that's helpful. It's not as expensive, so that's helpful. And it's a more, I guess, classic Sentinel design. I'm guessing most people would rather have something that looks like this. That's just a hunch. So I think this is probably a better product overall. The whole picture for the product, I think this is a better choice by Hasbro. However, at 175 bucks, I think that's a bit much. And now that it's over 200, it's just a non-starter, if you ask me. And I know it doesn't matter, because the Marvel Legends people are going to buy this for sure, and the people who aren't Marvel Legends people aren't going to buy it. So this kind of review is ultimately kind of pointless, I think, in terms of like what a review is actually for. But I am still going to go over it in case somebody is actually waiting to make a decision, and in case the information I provide here is useful going forward for anyone. I think it's overpriced, for sure. I've heard people say it looks really cheap. I think that's the biggest problem. This doesn't look markedly different than that old action figure that came out. Who was making them back then? It might have been Toy Biz, where the chest popped off and you can put an action figure inside. Because it's just bare plastic for the most part. There are spots of paint, obviously, and they're clean enough, but they're not super clean. Like, if you look at his chest, the black is only on the top. It's not going around the edges. There's purple on the edge of everything. And so that's not a huge deal, but this is a primo priced figure. It's just not a premium looking figure. It's just bare plastic almost everywhere. So it looks cheap. It looks like a really cheap figure. And then we have other issues. The hands, for instance. Let's see if I can show you this. Hopefully it shows up on camera. With my luck, it won't. The hands aren't all the same color. The fingers are different than the rest of the hand. Or like this part, for instance, is even lighter than the finger or than the rest of the thumb. It's subtle, but it is a thing. And when your figure has no paint on it, you are just getting whatever the bare plastic looks like. And it doesn't have like a super glossy finish or anything, but it doesn't have a premium look to it at all. It does look like relatively nicely finished bare plastic. And it is mostly ABS. So it has that kind of cheap, like you can... Some of you care about the types of plastics, I know that, and some of you don't, but it is, it's not a nicer looking material. It looks unfinished. It looks cheap, so... If you're looking for a high-end collectible, this isn't for you. That doesn't mean it's not worth getting for somebody. If you just want to have some Sentinels that fit in with your Marvel Legends, then hey, knock yourself out. If you're loaded and don't care about the price, there's plenty to like about this figure. That it exists is the main thing. So it's one of those weird things. I don't think anybody who's casually collecting is picking this guy up. And if they do, they're not going to love it. I can think of way better figures to spend $175 on than this. This is really just like a prop or a set piece for people in their collection. I don't think they're going to really be posing it too much unless they're doing photography. And if you're going to do that, it's kind of goofy and gangly looking like a Marvel Legends figure usually is, and we'll get to that later. So just my overall intro part of this, it's not anywhere near a premium figure, and I think at $175 it should be, and damn sure should be for $225 or whatever it is now. I think a comfortable price for this is $140 probably, and that's on today's market. Like in reasonable times, this should have been $100. This should have been $100. This is nowhere near the quality of like the 18-inch Spider-Man or things like that. So yeah, that's my intro take. But let's do the aesthetic, which I kind of already talked about. It's 95% bare plastic. The paints that are there and they're okay, but there's nothing premium about it. It looks like what it's supposed to look like enough that if you don't look too close at it or don't care that much, you'll be satisfied. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10 for the aesthetic. It's just bare plastic, and they did things like this, which it's not a huge deal, and I don't personally care because I'd never be looking at the back of it really, but you can see the screw holes in the backs of his shoulders, inside of his arms, on the forearms anyway, not on the top of the leg, but on the bottom of the leg also. So it's just, it doesn't look or feel at all like something you should have spent $175 on. That's my take for the aesthetic. So yeah, not great. Now as far as accessories go, it's pretty whatever. You get the battle damage head parts, which swap out well enough, that's fine. You get the battle damage chest piece. I still think, here's a good example of how cheap this figure looks. Even at the bottom of the chest piece, they didn't bother making it look like it's actually part of his suit. You can see like the little key part on there that holds it in place and tells you how to line it up. They could, not suit, I guess it's just a robot, but they couldn't have made that like recessed so that it was just a cylinder going in. Just little things like that, looking up from the bottom, which you would do in a lot of photography, I'm guessing, is going to reveal that the figure doesn't look as good as it otherwise could. So that's unfortunate. We get some really lousy blast effects. In terms of sculpt, they're fine, but they look like crap. It's like they're half shaded transparent plastic, and then they're painted with opaque yellow behind it. It looks, and then the reds don't match, the yellows don't match, none of it matches. It looks weird. It's an ugly, ugly effect part, and on the one hand at least, it comes out crooked. It sticks out crooked on his right hand. So you get those effect pieces. And that's it. No tentacles, no nothing like that. And no interchangeable hands, which we'll talk about in the articulation section. So it's just like it's a bare bones Marvel Legends figure again, only at a really high price point that doesn't really make you feel like you should own it, which is the same problem I have with most of the Haslabs. I think maybe all of them. They're coming in at premium price points only because they're big. That's the only premium aspect about these figures that Hasbro's doing. They're not any better than the normal slop that they shovel out. That's the problem. Let me show you the face up close, because that's another issue that I really wanted to touch on. I guess I forgot when I was doing the the aesthetic. The black line work going all the way around the face. They couldn't even do that cleanly. The line work itself is all splotchy around the edge. And like, yeah, that's kind of hard to do. I've done that 1,000 times doing customs, but mine look better than this because I just made sure it looked good. Theirs doesn't. The one part of the figure that has the paint on it that you might actually look close at is painted pretty poorly, in fact. So it doesn't look good. So accessory-wise, I know, we're jumping back and forth. Accessory-wise, 5 out of 10. Aesthetic wise, I said the 7 out of 10. I'm not going to take it down because of that, but I want you to be aware of it. So far, we're not exactly like firing on all cylinders. The best thing about this figure so far is that it exists. All right. Now, as far as the articulation goes, the neck can go forward and back. That's kind of cool, but it does this, which I'm not going to do it. I have some rules. I don't make certain jokes, but he does have that. Then the head can move around on top of the neck, and it actually moves around pretty well. Like, it's fine for a Sentinel. I think it'll be okay. So that's good. I think they did a decent job with the head moving around. Oh, by the way, the neck gets all scuffed up from the collar piece. Hopefully you can see that. But yeah, the head works well enough, even though the neck is spring-loaded for who knows what. For the shoulders, heavy ratchets, not quite up to horizontal. All right, no real reason for that, because you can see the joint here. They could have just moved it out 1/8 of an inch to give it more range, but they didn't. The bicep likes to tuck over this. If that's intentional, that's really bad design. I guess they could have done that so that the arm can go straight down, but it doesn't look good. It looks weird like that, but you can rotate his arm all the way around, of course. That's standard. Bicep swivel is in there, so that's fine. Double jointed elbow. Garbage range. I mean, just 90 degrees, no matter how you do it. So just 90 degrees, it's going to be pretty limited, but it's a really ugly joint. It's a really, really, really ugly joint. They didn't try to make it look nice at all. It's just faceting as far as the eye can see. Big chunks of body missing. It does not look nice. So yeah, like I said, you're going to use, like, I'm sure there's plenty of people who are going to get these for photography. Well, there's no paint on it, so it looks like bare plastic, so it's going to have to be cast in shadow or really generous lighting. And it looks bad when you pose it, so there's that. The forearm doesn't rotate. You have no need for that, though, because the wrist can rotate all the way around. So that's a good thing, I guess. I mean, you want to be able to rotate the wrist around. It has the hinge, but you can't use the hinge as much as you would like to be able to use it. So it doesn't go down that far. It goes up far enough, I guess, but I would like it to go a little bit farther. And there's really no reason it can't, no good reason. And then we have the sockets in the hands, which don't come with like a little cap or anything to make it look nice. So if you're not putting a blast effect in his hand, it just looks dumb. For $175, I think they could have spent the extra penny to add a little piece of plastic into one of the other molds that just caps that off to make it look nice. But you don't have that, so that sucks. That sucks. And then we have the hands, and since we're talking about articulation, it's time to talk about these. I understand the benefit of articulated fingers sometimes. I personally don't like them. I want sculpted hands because they look better than these little sausage fingers, just like the ones we saw on Giant Man. I hate articulated fingers. On robots, it's one thing. I mean like mecha robots, not ones that actually look like hands. That's fine. I still don't prefer them because they're not as effective as sculpted hands. But they add to the POA count for marketing purposes. But they're such a pain in the ass. You can see they're all twisted and broken looking because they're all swivel hinges rather than double hinges. And that's the cheapest way to do this. And they're super annoying. This is kind of an aside. I guess you guys can comment. Do you like these articulated type of hands? Because I find them incredibly annoying because you constantly have to be twisting them around to get the fingers to not look like they're all broken and dislocated. But it's a good enough articulated hand if you really want it. But anything he's holding other than like a leg, his hand's going to have to be extended out pretty far. And I don't trust these joints over time to be able to hold other action figures very well. I just don't think that's going to last. They're just little swivel hinges, and they already aren't the most fun to handle. And I think over time they're going to get loose, and then you're just going to have a big sloppy bunch of twisted up fingers. I don't want that. I want all interchangeable hands, and the plastics don't match. So a lot of the cost went into this. At least a decent chunk of it did, and they don't look good. They're miscolored. This isn't done, and it's not the best way to do it, in my opinion. I understand there's an argument to be made for having articulated fingers. I'm sure there's a huge portion of the community who wants to take pictures of this guy flipping the bird. But I would argue most collectors who are buying $175 figures are older than 9 and have a maturity level higher than that. So I don't know. I'm not a real big fan of the articulated fingers. They add to the cost and don't add much benefit. For the torso, it does have a decent torso. Can lean back. Can lean forward a little bit, not a lot, enough. Side to side, again, a little bit, nothing special, but I think that's a pretty good way of doing that. This flex is enough for him to rotate. Yeah, I think that's fine. It's a little clumsy and awkward to handle, and it likes to snap into certain positions, but it does work, so I'll take that. The hips are basically just standard Marvel Legends hips. Let's get these out of the way. Except they have crap range, which is probably fine for a Sentinel, but it just goes to show they still can't figure out where to put the joint. They can't articulate legs properly. There's no reason this leg can't go straight out to the side. And it's at 45. And then going forward, it bumps into the diaper almost immediately, so very, very, very limited range. If you go out, you can go up a little bit higher, but still not very far. Again, it's a Sentinel, he basically needs to stand still, but what are we paying for then? Just make it a statue, which, by the way, I want to comment on at the end, so don't leave yet. A little bit of range going back, but not much. Thigh swivel is there, but it's also quite loose, so be aware of that. And then let me move the camera down a little bit. These giant figures are awkward as heck to review. The knees, functional range is good. Ugly as sin. Again, it's just a giant, uglier, more obvious version of the standard Marvel Legends knee, so that sucks. Again, nothing premium about these premium figures from Hasbro. Size is it. So you get your shin swivel at the boot, which is fine. It'll rotate, that's okay. Ankles, oh gosh. Ankles go back that far. So it's a little tricky to get this guy to stand in fun poses because his ankles only go back that far. And they only go forward that far. Maybe, yeah, you can force one more. Very limited range there. You do get a decent enough ankle rocker out of it, I guess. But not very much. So most of his posability and from the waist down is worthless anyway because his feet don't really do too much. So his articulation, it's really not anything good. Oh, he also has a little bit of the McFarlane effect where the ratchets are so tight and few that you're going to have trouble finding a sweet spot for him to stand. It's kind of annoying. So his articulation is going to get a, I guess, 7 out of 10. It's fine, but it's ugly as hell, and it doesn't even do anything special. It doesn't need to for the Sentinel, so that's fine, but what are you paying for? Which leads me to my last point. What are you paying for here? You don't need most of what makes this figure expensive. This is not significantly better looking than those $30, 3-foot tall. They had like Darth Vader and Stormtroopers and Master Chief and stuff. I think it was Jakks Pacific did it like 10 years ago now, but obviously the price would be higher now. But this doesn't look better than one of those cheap blow mold figures. It doesn't. It looks like nothing. It's fine. Do I hate owning it? No, the figure itself is average as hell, but it's fine. It serves its purpose. But the price is nuts, I think. I think the price is crazy for something like this. So I can't recommend anybody buy this. What's going on here? Did this come apart in some way? No, that's just the way it looks. Okay. Yeah, I can't recommend it, especially at like $220, $225, whatever it is right now. No freaking way is this even close to worth it. No way. They definitely banked on the few people who are going to buy a bunch of these for one photo or to stick in their collection room, and that's it. This is not at all for a casual collector because it doesn't offer enough. It doesn't offer enough. I'm not thrilled with this figure. I'm happy enough to own it. I'll probably end up selling it because it's not a good enough piece to take up as much space as it does. That's why I sold all my Haslabs. I was like, screw that. They're too big. They're not even very good looking figures. So unless you're like primarily a Marvel Legends collector, this is really a non-starter. It's not worth owning for the price point. If it was a lot cheaper, then sure, it's fine. Like, it's a big fun figure. The problem is the price. The problem is Hasbro. The problem is the way it's executed. The problem is for $175, it has a spring-loaded neck. What the hell is that about? Discolored fingers that don't even go straight easily. Like, it's a pain in the ass. It's too expensive. It's not nice enough. I get why it exists, and it's, in concept, a good idea, but not executed the way it needs to be. And also, I apparently have a big gap right here now in the crotch. Whatever. Yeah, I'm going to give it an overall rating of 6 out of 10. It's fine. It's a D. That's how you can look at it. It's a D. It'll be like, could be better in almost every way, and it costs too much. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section below, but that's going to be it from me. So that's my take, and let me know what you guys think, and I'll be done. So thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down, and if you haven't subscribed, you should. I have new videos just about every single day, and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that, and in the meantime, keep collecting.